Hello everyone, and welcome to the FACT Accreditation Portal training on how to complete a compliance application. In case you missed it, the official launch date has been set for our new accreditation portal that will launch on October 1st. If you are currently working in an application in the old FACT Web portal, you will remain in the old FACT Web portal through the completion of that specific application. However, your next application, whether it's an annual, renewal, or a compliance application, will then be in the new portal. My name is Elisa Forsyth. I am the IT Business Analyst for the FACT Office, and I'll be doing your training for this afternoon. If you have any questions about the portal, feel free to contact me at my email address provided here or your FACT coordinator. The first notification that you'll get is actually going to be an email that your application has been created. Assuming that you guys are on here because your next application in line is going to be a compliance application, you'll receive an email that looks like similar to this one here. It'll say that your eligibility application or your renewal application has been approved. This application will theoretically exist in the old FACT Web portal. This email will have your organization name, the due date for your compliance application, that's again following that renewal or your eligibility application, your accreditation goal, and the sites to be inspected and what they'll be inspected for. If everything looks correct, you'll want to click the link in the email and that will take you to the new portal. I'm going to click on that link, or I'm going to copy it actually and put it in my incognito window here. In order to access the page, you'll have to log in. The very first time that you try and log into the portal, your username will be the email address that you've created, that you actually received this email notification at. We do not have single sign-on like we did with the old FACT Web portal, so that means that your user login credentials are going to be different in the new portal than they were in the old portal. The first step would be to change your password so that you can access your account. So when you get to the login screen or you receive that access denied, it's because you're not logged in at this present time. So you'll want to reset your password. So click here to recover. You're going to enter the email address for the account that you were just trying to log in as. And select submit. We've incorporated two-factor authentication into the reset password process. So what will happen is if the email address that you're trying to, the account that you're trying to access exists, we will generate an email notification to that account. That email notification should arrive shortly, and I can show you guys what that looks like. It should look something like this. So it'll have a password change request, and it'll have a URL with a special access token. This is how we verify that you are who you say you are, that you can actually access that email address for the account that you're trying to access. So you're just going to click on that link. I'm going to copy and paste so I can keep it in my incognito window. Here you go, Thaddeus Plots. Enter my password. As soon as both the password and the confirmation password actually match, that confirm prompt will enable. And once you've met all those password requirements, submit. Okay. Once you've reset your password, you can return to the login screen, enter your username, and the password that you just set. You can select show password if you'd like to see what the password is behind the dots. You can select the remember me checkbox if you'd like it to remember your username. For HIPAA compliance, we don't remember or store the password as a cookie. Some browsers have a built-in remember your password feature, and you're welcome to utilize that. But for our own website security, we don't include that in the cookie that we're saving. So we will only remember your username. So once you've completed that process, select sign in. Occasionally, you'll have to go through the process of verifying your account. You'll definitely have to do it the very first time that we set up that you're trying to access the portal. You could also need to repeat the verify account process. If you try logging in on a different computer, you clear your cache, or you restart your computer, anytime that the cookie that we're using to verify that you are who you say you are, anytime that is cleared, you'll have to repeat the verify account process. It shouldn't happen every single time you log in. It should just be occasional. So the verify account email looks like this. It'll have FACT Portal account verification. You just want to copy this code and paste that in. Okay. So now I'm going to return back to that email that we had. This one. Okay. Now that we're logged in. Okay. So this is again the configurations that we have set up for your compliance application. This page can only be approved or rejected by your organization's director. Other people at your organization can potentially look at this page and the data here, but only the approve and reject buttons will show up for the organization director for your org. Again, repeat the details, your organization name, your accreditation goal, the current accreditation date, etc. The previous portal, we had the director approve at the point of submitting the renewal application. In the new portal, we actually enable you guys to submit your renewal application. We set up and configure your compliance application saying we're going to inspect these sites with these site types and under this edition of the standards with all of the details specified here, and we enable the director to approve our interpretation of that renewal application as well. So you guys will actually submit a renewal application in the new portal without director approval. But then at the point, this point here, the director will be able to review the information present and make sure that not only the data that you gave us was accurate, but our interpretation of it as a FACT organization is accurate. If your renewal application was not in the new portal, then you would potentially have to log into the old portal to see that renewal application and all of the details associated with it in the future. Once you've actually gone through the renewal application in the new portal, that renewal and compliance application details, this approval page, are actually shown at the same time. So they won't have to go anywhere else to review the renewal application and approve the settings that we have displayed here. If for some reason the director says, no, that site should not be inspected, we need to remove that, or we're missing a site that should be inspected, they can select the reject button and give us any rejection reasons why they don't want what needs to change as part of these settings. And then hit continue. At that point, the FACT office would receive an email notification, your coordinator, letting them know that this was rejected for whatever reason. And we would then RFI your renewal application for any changes that need to be made so you could submit back to us. So that's the process that would take place. I'm going to hit cancel at this time, and I'm going to go ahead and approve it. The moment your director approves the compliance or configuration settings here, the compliance application is immediately available to you. So you can see this, please proceed to your compliance application link is now available. You'll also get an email notification that says your compliance application is now available. That email notification will carbon copy the primary contact, the facility directors, the organization director, all of the key personnel for your organization. By clicking on that link, it takes us straight into the compliance application. I'm going to show you guys the email here. This email, again, your FACT compliance application is now ready for completion. It's letting us know that the compliance is ready. And you can select this link. This link, again, will take you directly to your application. If you were just to navigate to our website at https://portal.factwebsite.org and try and log in, you're actually going to end up here on this landing page. So this landing page shows all applications available for your organization. This is your dashboard, if you will. So this dashboard has, these are referred to as tiles, these large rectangular shape areas. It's got your organization's name, a link to open the application itself, the submitted date that the application was submitted. For something that's in progress, we haven't submitted it yet, so that is going to be not applicable. The due date that the application is due back to FACT. This is the date of submission for your organization, so usually it'll be a month or so out, something like that. If we send it back for RFIs, that due date will update. So this is your upcoming submission to FACT, the next time something that is due from you guys to us. The inspection date for compliance applications will display once an inspection date has been set. And then the cycle number for your organization. This is the number of times that this organization has been accredited or completed an accreditation cycle. A cycle runs from the renewal application through the annual and to the compliance. The subsequent renewal application would be a new cycle. So each of those phases would get incremented, and that represents the number of cycles that you've gone through with FACT. We also provide a picture of your coordinators so you know what they look like, see our beautiful faces, and the email address for that coordinator as a quick link so you can easily contact your coordinator to ask any questions about your application. Over here on the right, we've got the status of the application. The yellow dot indicates the status is in progress. Then we've got some quick views to various areas within your application. The application history, this is a log of the status changes, what the status was originally, what it changed to, who made the status change, and at what date and time that status change occurred. So, so-and-so submitted the application on this date, the status changed from in progress, etc. To request an application add-on, if you have decided to add a site to your inspection scope or anything like that, you would just click that link. That just opens up an email template with your application information already directed to your coordinator, and you just need to put in the additional details about what site you'd like to add, what they would like to be accredited for, etc. The quick view is the new portal's equivalent of the status view or the jelly bean view that was available in the old portal. So this is a multicolored view list of all the requirements in the application and what each individual item's status is, in progress, RFI, etc. So we'll actually get to see that here in a second. And then this open application link serves the same purpose as this compliance application. You're welcome to use whichever link is more intuitive, but they go to the same place. The only time that you would see multiple tiles like this is if you're one of the few individuals that actually belong to two separately accredited organizations that are performing answering applications at the same time. So this would be relatively an unusual situation, but it does happen. The other scenario that you could see multiple tiles on this page is if you are at the point of your annual and you've got RFIs, follow-up RFIs on your compliance application. You would potentially see your compliance application tile as well as your annual application tile open at the same time. That's most likely for most of our applicants. So at this point, I'm going to select Open Application. And you'll see we've returned to that same page that we accessed through the email. So again, I think it's this one. Yep, this email here, by clicking on this link, has the same effect as returning to your dashboard and selecting Open Application here. It's the same difference. Okay. Within, we've got another small version of that same tile. Your submitted date and your due date should always be visible to you, as well as your inspection date, quick links to your coordinator's contact information, and the status of your application. Over here, we've got what we refer to as the left navigation pane. This My Applications link returns you to your dashboard. In the old portal, we had tabs opening up every single time you clicked a link. Now, the only time we open up a tab is with this help link right now, because you're actually leaving and exiting the portal. You're going to go to our website, our public-facing website, factwebsite.org, and it's going to take you to the Portal Resource Center located on the Education and Resources tab. Within here, you can select inspectors or applicants, depending on whatever your situation currently is, and you could see a list of our quick guides and upcoming training opportunities if you'd like help. Next, we've got the quick view. Again, this is the equivalent of that jelly bean view. If we're on the compliance application, you have multiple sites that are being inspected or accredited. Each of the sites has their own quick view. Previously, you'd have to leave one site's checklist, access another checklist for another site, and then click the quick view. Now we've collected all of the quick views in a single location and just given you a drop down so you can easily change from site to site. Okay. And these are all hyperlinks, so you can open them up and access the questions within. The document library, this is where all of the documents attached to your compliance application will exist. You've got two tabs here, the by requirement tab. This is a list of documents that have actually been attached to the compliance application itself. On the full list tab, you've got documents that exist in your document library, but they haven't been attached to anything yet. You can upload documents here directly to your document library. You can delete documents that aren't attached to something, whether it be an RFI or a question itself. You can delete those. If a document's already been attached to something, we're going to throw up a warning and let you know that you could cause a question to become unanswered if you delete that document. Okay. The personnel section contains a list of personnel at your organization. We've got Yakko, Wacko, Dot, Pinky and the Brain. The gang's all here. If you are the primary contact or the organization director for your organization, you automatically have the ability to manage staff within your organization, to add and edit personnel. So you'll have this add new user button and the edit buttons as well. Any of the other users in this list, because they are not the organization director, so Thaddeus Plutz has this ability, and the primary contact, who is Thaddeus Plutz as well for this organization. That person is holding both hats. In the case of Hello Nurse or Pinky and the Brain, these individuals are not necessarily guaranteed the ability to add and edit personnel. But you as the primary contact or the director of an organization can extend the scope of that ability to someone else at your organization. So I'll show you how to do that now. When you select Add New User, that brings up a new user form. You've got two different roles to choose from, a user and a non-system user. A user is someone who's going to be accessing the portal and requires a login. A non-system user is someone that will not be logging into the portal, but they might be a quality manager or an attending physician or someone that you need to populate what we call people picker questions in your application. So in the people picker lists, any of the users that you have in the system, any active users, will show up in that people picker list. So if this is someone that's not going to be accessing the portal or performing a function, you would create a non-system user account for that individual. If we're creating a user account, we're going to be prompted for a first name, an email address, some credentials, a phone number, extension. Those fields are not required, but the first name, last name, email address are required. And then a password. This password is really just to secure the account. You can put in your own password. You could put in a new password. It doesn't really matter. The next step in the process after you create this user account is to let that person know that you've created their account and instruct them to change their password on that login screen. So then they would change that password and that's how they get access to the account. Okay. The next option here is to activate that account. So you'll want to select yes, we want this account to be active. If at any time someone leaves your organization, you can return to the edit user account here under personnel and just change that from active to no. Okay, again, the primary contact and director have the ability to add and edit personnel. If you want to extend this permission to someone else at your organization and you're delegating that responsibility, you're going to want to check this box. We're going to grant that user permission to add and edit personnel at the organization. You can always add this after the fact. You don't have to do it on account creation, but unless that box is checked, they're not going to see that add new user button or the ability to edit. Okay. You can add a medical license expiry date if you know it. If not, it doesn't matter. The individual that you're creating will have access to manage their own account. Even if they don't have the ability to add and edit personnel, everyone still has the ability to manage their own account. Next are the organizational assignments section. So for your organization, what is that individual's job function? Are they a pharmacist? Are they an administrator, a FACT liaison? What role is that person going to play? You're going to select the organization, the job function, and hit add. Because we service small and large organizations, you may have an individual that has multiple hats for your organization. Although this person is the FACT liaison, they might also be the apheresis collection facility director. So you can continue to add job functions as you see fit for that individual. If at any time that changes, you can return to that account and remove job responsibilities accordingly. You must have at least one organizational assignment during this process, or the form is not going to let you save. Languages, again, you can select whatever languages, or you can wait for the individual to do that themselves. So when everything's completed, we're going to go ahead and hit save. And that account has now been added as the apheresis collection facility director for my organization. If your organization has a consultant and you're working with a FACT consultant department, the consultants that have access to your account will be visible to you. This page is a one-stop shop to show you the visibility that everyone has to your organization, so you know exactly who can see what. Once an inspection has been set and your inspection team has been assigned, the inspection staff, the inspectors themselves will actually show up in this list as well. They'll appear up above your staff or your organizational staff. I'm going to return now to the site checklist. This is the heart of the application itself and where you're going to spend 99.9% of your time in this site checklist here. Each of the sites that are going to be inspected are represented. The arrows indicate an accordion style setup. So you're just going to click on the accordions to expand them down to the lowest level for each of the organizations, for each of the sites. Again, we've got a lot of yellow dots. If at any time you forget what the dots mean, because you're going to have yellow, green, light green, red, the various colors, it could look like a rainbow potentially. You just mouse over the colored dot and that will let you know that this item actually means in progress with that tooltip that shows up. We also have a legend available here in the left navigation pane. If you click show legend, you can see the rainbow of colors that are applicable to applicants. I'm going to go ahead and hit close. Now in this site checklist, again, we're starting to see those requirements display. At the lowest level, you're going to see the questions link. So this is how you actually access the questions themselves. Up next at the top, we've got the requirement restated for your convenience. We've got the guidance available for that requirement. And then we've got the questions. Just like the old portal, you have the ability to flag a question that you would like to return to later. That changes the flag icon to red. Gray means that that flag has been disabled. Similar to the old portal again, the clinical facility grid, when you see links like this in the blue text, they are hyperlinks. You can click on that and it'll immediately download the current version of the clinical facility grid from our website. This document library button opens up the interface with the document library. You can see the pre-existing documents that we saw earlier in the document library on the full list side. You can upload documents here by selecting the choose files. I'm going to go to some sample documents that I've created. And I'm going to press and hold the control key on my keyboard. And then I'm going to select multiple documents. The old portal did not have the ability to upload multiple documents at the same time. that the new version does. We're very excited about this new feature. So you just hold down that control key while you click, and that will select all of the documents that you'd like to upload in blue. When you're ready, hit open. And that will partially import these documents. It's going to ask you if you'd like to rename these files. That's what this column is for. If you have document names like policy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's very beneficial to the coordinators and to the inspectors if the document names are meaningful to the content within. So if you need to change a document name, you just remove what's there and say, this is my new document. Okay. Once you've updated your file names to whatever you'd like them to be, select Upload to Library. For each document that's uploaded, you're going to get a success notification, and those documents will appear here. The documents are always added at the end of the list. If your document list becomes cumbersome, you start uploading hundreds of documents for compliance applications. It could get difficult to locate something. However, we have in this new version of the portal the ability to sort by document name, original document name, or created date. This is the upload date that you uploaded the document to the portal. I'm just clicking on the column headers here to sort and reverse sort the documents. You can also use this icon here, this button here, as a filter. So something that contains form. It's going to automatically filter this document name list by entries that contain the word form. To clear that, you just hit the clear icon. That filter feature is available on every column in that document library area. Okay. Once you've uploaded your documents, you've renamed them, you've located your file, you're going to highlight the document that you'd like to attach to the question. Just by selecting it, it'll turn orange. Hit the Attach Selected Document button. And that's going to append here after your file name. So that answer is now complete. Just below this, as part of question number 1, we have a link to enter applicable document name and page number as evidence of compliance or other comments. So if I click on that link, it gives me a comment field. This is to provide any justification for your answer if it's something that's not a document upload. Particularly for document uploads, we would love it if you would include a page number that and potentially a paragraph reference, any additional information that you can give us to help us pinpoint where in your 200-page document we can find the information that we're looking for. This will not only help the FACT staff and the inspectors, but it'll also help with the on-site audit when the inspectors arrive in locating that information. So you're going to just enter your comments. Please reference page 32, paragraph 4. Okay. Once you've entered a comment, that comment remains visible anytime you or any of your other staff members access this requirement for B1.1. That comment field is going to be open so everyone can see that you've made a comment. If you decide to remove your comment, you have the ability to, again, hide that comment field. But while there's a comment there, we're going to show that comment. The next type of question that you have are text areas. These are WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get, which means you can actually format your responses. So if you've got text, you can make it bold, italic, underline. You can turn it into bullets. Whatever format works best for your response. Feel free to format your questions in an easily readable way. Okay. This is a document upload question. However, this one looks just a little different. This one is a multiple document upload. You could upload multiple documents at any time with this document library button like this, but you can only attach one document to this specific question. In the case here, we can actually attach multiple documents to this question. So I'm going to select Choose File. At this point, I can actually, again, hold down that Control key and select multiple documents that I would like to attach to that question. Hit Attach Selected Document, and those documents become immediately attached to question number 4. If I'd like to remove an entry, I select the little gray X's. If I'd like to add an entry, you just select Add Entry, and that Choose File button shows back up again. Okay. Again, use the applicable document name and page number as evidence of compliance, especially when we've got these multi-document situations. That'll be very helpful. Radio buttons work just like any other situation. Yes and no. Once you've selected one, you can't select, you can only have one answer selected at a time. The other thing, quick hint that I'd like to give you guys, is the ability to click checkboxes without having to use your mouse. So when we've got questions in our compliance application that sometimes have 10 plus checkboxes, and you're going to check all of them in order to confirm compliance. So to quickly move through this, you can select the first one using your mouse, but then you can hit the Tab key to highlight the second checkbox in the row and your space bar to check it. So you can quickly go Tab space, Tab space, Tab space, Tab space to move through those checkboxes quickly and efficiently. Okay. As you saw on B11, I was able to hit Save and go to Next. That immediately took me to B111. I'm going to hit Save and go to Next again. And that again is going to take me to the next item in the list. Okay. If you select Save, that's going to close what we call those modal windows. The item B12 is now complete, so that changes to green. Once everything on your list is green, you can submit that application to FACT, assuming there's nothing that has been flagged, that you flagged to return to later. Any flags would prevent you from submitting, but we'll throw up a warning, and I'm going to show you that here in a second. So for the purpose of time, I've already completed an application, or a lion's share of one. So I'm going to go back to the My Applications, which is again my dashboard. And we're going to move on to the second tile for Part 2, Animaniacs Transplant. Okay. Again, I've answered all of the questions in those other sections. This one is still yellow, so we've got a yellow item. And here's that warning that I was telling you about, that we have flagged items. The easiest way to find your flagged items is actually from the quick view. So we're going to go to that quick view. Again, we've got all of the different sites that are available for selection. Your compliance applications are going to be a lot bigger, a lot more requirements. This is a training version, so I've simplified it for myself so that I don't have to answer as many questions. Okay, but back on this pediatric transplant program area, we can see the filters on the side. One of them is Has Flag. So if I were to check this box, it filters to show me exactly which requirement has a flagged question within. So I can open up section B11. I can see where my flag is. I go, oh, I haven't answered this question. I'm going to enter my response and select Save. At that time, I can return to my site checklist. I'm going to refresh. And you can see that that application has flagged items has now vanished, and the Submit for Director Approval button comes up. When you select Submit for a Director Approval, an email notification is going to go to the different facility directors at your organization, and they're going to need to approve the compliance application before the application will go to FACT. On final approval of the director approval, it'll immediately go to FACT. There's no additional submit or anything of that nature that takes place. And there's no particular order that the facility directors need to respond in. It's just the last one will actually send that to FACT. So I'm going to get an example email for you. You guys can see what that looks like. Each person is going to get their own email notification, and that is going to carbon copy the primary contact or organization, so they can observe and make sure that everyone approves accordingly. When they click this compliance application link, this link is special. So they have to click this link in this email in order to access the approval button. So it's very important that you help your facility directors and whoever understand that this link is vital. So I'm going to copy this hyperlink, paste it in here. And again, with this, the very first time that you guys are accessing the portal, those facility directors, they're not going to have that cookie. So they're going to get interrupted in this process, just as a warning. They're going to get interrupted and have to reset their password if they haven't logged in before, and potentially do that two-factor authentication piece, if they've never logged in before. So they'll need to complete both of those steps and then return to the email to click that button in that email to be able to see this director approve button. So the very first time they go through this, it could be a little wonky. Once everyone's been in the portal at least once, that process should streamline itself. So at this point, I'm logged in as Thaddeus Plotz, who is the organization director. By clicking that link in that email, I have the director approve button, as well as a list of the other approvers that need to approve this before it'll actually submit. On selecting director approve, that approved response changes to yes. And if I refresh here, I'll get to see that date as well, that the approval date for that individual. Okay. The director, before they actually hit the approve button, again, because we're in the application, they can drill in and review all of the information prior to hitting that approve button. If for some reason something is wrong, they can either coordinate with their primary contact or someone else at their organization internally, or they can just change the information themselves. As the director, they have the ability to edit the information in here as well. So upon last approval, this would actually trigger and go on to FACT. I will spare us the other approvals. Okay. So let's return now to the My Applications, because the next phase, once you submit your application to FACT, we're going to do a preliminary review of that application, and most likely additional information is going to be needed at one point or another. So we send that application back to your organization with a status of request for information, or RFI. So we have the red status indicator here just to let you know that action is required. And it'll say RFI. We're going to click on this open application link. It lets you know that your RFI is accessible from that site checklist area. It's trying to help let you know where to go to see this RFI if for some reason you access one of these the other links and get off. Again, we're going to drill into the accordions, just follow those red dots. And we can see that the RFI is sitting on B15. So I'm going to open the questions link for that. And then you're looking for the big red button. If there's a set of requirements that has a lot of questions, you might have to scroll to see your red button, but that big red button should be fairly obvious. You just want to find that button. So this RFI is actually on question number 1. It's saying the attached patient number form doesn't include totals. Please provide an updated version. So we're going to hit add response. And I'm going to say, please see my updated version attached. Okay. If you scroll down a little further, you can see that there's a document library button down at the bottom below the comment field. This is how you attach a document to your RFI response. So we're going to select that document library button, select the appropriate form. Assuming that it's already here, you might have to upload it. Again, if you're providing an updated version, you can upload using that Choose Files button. But then select the appropriate document, select Attach, and then hit Save Comment. When you hit Save Comment, you can see the original comment, the new comment, the link to download your form. Everything's here and in place. I'm going to hit Save. I'm going to hit Save one more time. And I can see that that line item is now complete. If I reopen B1.5, that add response button is now green as well, so that you know you've met the requirement for that RFI. To watch that one more time, I'm going to drill in following the red dot. Our RFI is on B11. I'm going to open that up, locate my red dot to add a response. enter a comment, a document if necessary, and then select Save Comment. Then select Save to close the modal windows. Once everything's green, you'll have the ability to submit that application back to FACT. Other things available are the application report within a compliance application. This is the new portal's version of the export to Excel. So you can select the site that you'd like to export and then select the export button. And this gives you a pretty layout version of that application with your application responses and any comments if you used those. Add applicable document name and page number as evidence of compliance. Those comments, they would appear here as well in that comment column. So this is an easy way to export that compliance application to Excel. Okay. The RFI report shows RFIs for your organization. This just takes 1 second to load as it compiles all the information. So you can see this is another way to access your RFIs and potentially even respond to them. You can click on that RFI report. We've got the requirement number itself, the question, and the original FACT request, as well as your organization's response if one's been added. These are grouped by site, so you can see the pediatric transplant program is up here. And then the adult transplant program, marrow, apheresis, and processing. Those last three didn't have any RFIs, but we will display that for you. The application history, as I mentioned at the beginning, this is a record of the status changes that occur on your application as it moves from for review, which is in FACT control, back to RFI to you guys, an in progress change from in progress to submitted. All of those status changes would occur here. Once you've got an inspection scheduled as well, that inspection is a status change, and so you'd see the record of inspection as well on this application history. If at any time you need to request an add-on, we also have that link available to you in the left navigation pane. As you can see in this new portal, we've really streamlined the process so that you're working primarily in this site checklist, the quick view document library, and personnel. These links are always available to you, so we don't have the tabs. You can easily return to your My Applications dashboard without all the fun tabs. Now that we've gone through all of that left navigation pane, a description of each of these different items, I'm going to go ahead and submit this application back to FACT. No director approval is required for an RFI response. That's the same process as the old portal. And then if I return, refresh, I can see that this application has been submitted, this part 3. So the gray indicates that no action is required at this time for your organization. Thank you so much for joining today's session on how to complete a compliance application. Again, my name is Elisa Forsyth, the IT Business Analyst for FACT. My contact information is available there on the screen if you'd like to contact me, and it's also available on our website. And of course, your coordinators can also be contacted if you've got questions specific to the portal. They could probably answer them, or your application and the standards themselves. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.